Hey yo, we're back in the garage. It's I don't know. We're starting the second week of the virus vacation for folks like Rich, brother Rich, who is really starting to lose his mind over here a little bit. You know, 1 minute he's go go go, the next minute he just wants to go in the house and sit around and watch TV. So I kind of get it. You know, like I said, I've shot many videos that you all haven't seen. And in those videos, I talk about a plethora of things, but one of them being that because I work at home, for whatever reason, it's easy for me to look at a guy like Rich and say, you know, what's the big deal, man? Just chill. But Richard is wound. Okay, my brother, I've known Rich. I mean, he's my brother. Me and him we grew up together. We shared the same bedroom when we were little kids. I know Richard like the back of my hand. He knows me pretty well too. So it's tough on him, and I get it. And you know, I keep telling him, like today, brother Kenny was over. Kenny, listen, without my brothers Richard and Kenny, financially, with parts and pieces, I wouldn't be able to do this. Bob, you're the man too, but those guys have given more to this entire project than I ever could on my own. So, you know, Richard gave up a bunch of dough to give Tony a good deal on his go-kart to acquire this chassis and the parts and pieces that I'm going to use to build my other 125. Now, Richard's going to reap the benefits of that as well, but you know, that's $1,000, man, that he could, you know, at this time not working, he could probably use that, eh, Rich? But you know, we're making progress. I know it probably doesn't look any more done than it did in the last video, but we are making some ground. I got the seat strut bolts. Brother Ken, he brought over, man, a pile of stuff today. More wheels, more parts and pieces, and a ton of hardware, brand new nuts and bolts. So we got the struts bolted on. I still have to do the crimping and drilling of these here. I had to fix the air compressor, right? We had to get the air compressor running first. So we drilled and tapped, and then had to grind down some little tiny 632 screws to hold that reed plate in there. And the air compressor's running great. We cleaned it all up. She's running good. We tacked on the brake mounts and everything here for the front brakes, so that's ready to go. We can get the rest of those bits going now too. We're going to run over to the hardware store and get us some O-rings that go on this spacer and fit inside the big end of the housing here. So even if we get them, they're too fat, we can take them to the belt sander at Rich's and sand them down a little bit, because they don't need to seal anything. We're even going to put a little Vaseline or something, a little lube on them. So there'll be maybe 2 or 3 of them on that spacer there, right? And on the inside of here, just to keep this from flopping around like so. It's not going to move much, but it does move a little bit, and the pad will move a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and do the same in the rear. We'll pop these caps off these adjusters, because we're not going to use them to adjust anymore. And we'll do the same thing and put O-rings on those spacers as well. Because, I mean, if you listen, you can hear this brake pad here is, you know, because they're loose and flopping around. And you got to do that to have that self-adjusting mechanism I told you to the brake system. So we got, you know, a few things we can run around and do and get going here shortly, but none of that stuff needs to get done right away. That's last minute stuff. We can do that before we button everything down. But I decided I think I'm going to use this, instead of using rubber, I'm going to use this Teflon plate stuff, right? It's good, strong, durable stuff. We use it for skid plate and on the front of the nose cone. We've used it for many, many different things. I've used it, you guys see me make those little spacers for my fuel tanks, right? The Margay fuel tanks that I put on to replace the aluminum tank on the other cart. It's really cool stuff. It's about the right thickness for what we got going here. And You can sand it really easy on a belt sander and bevel them to get them to fit right in there perfectly. Where rubber is still going to squeeze, even this dent stuff that I have, it's still, as you tighten that bolt down, I'm just worried about busting up the seat. So we're gonna hard mount the thing, and then obviously once we get the seat, tomorrow we'll be chopping out the section there to get the nut bar fit and all that stuff. We get Rich over here welding this stuff up. We'll get him back to work again too, We'll get nut bar on, and we'll be working on steering shaft and tie cutting and rethreading tie rods and all that stuff the next couple of days. It's an exciting time. It's really it's going to start taking shape really, really quick here. I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope y'all are. That's about it for tonight. Sunday night. They say it's going to go down about 21 tonight, but back up to over 60 tomorrow afternoon, maybe with a chance of rain. So it's been nice during the day. It's still getting cold at night. We just, I don't think we're going to be running the heat anymore, but we're making some progress. We're getting it done. It's starting to take shape. Like I said, once the seat, that's the center of everything. Once that gets bolted in, then we're going to go ahead and add the extra bit, like I said before, with the wedge underneath, the extra glass. I have in the past even used maybe wood in here and glass those bits in to the seat, so they're always part of the seat. If you got to take it out, you don't have to worry about your spacers or rubbers dropping and falling on the ground, chasing them around the track. I don't know. It just all depends on how we feel, but we're making some ground. Let me sit you back up in the cabinet here. We're making some ground, and we're feeling pretty good about it. So that's it. God bless. Godspeed, y'all. I can't emphasize enough that we are going through this weird hard time on our own because we can't get together, but we can still compute and commute on our compute and talk to one another that way. So we are praying for you. I'm thinking about y'all. Love y'all, and I hope wherever you are and whatever part of the world you're in, or the part of our country you're in, that you're being treated properly, most of all, and humanely. And don't forget, there are a lot of people less fortunate than us. And although we're worried about how we're going to pay our rent and is the finances coming back and our 401k is disappearing, there's a lot of people that don't know what any of those things mean and never will. So let's not forget them. Even though we're hard up, we still are blessed to have more than we need in this country. And help the small people too. God bless y'all. Peace. She's coming together. Check her out.